Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Front Porch Talk. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man. Tonight we have Riesenberger
Hello.
and Irate Prostate. And we're going to be joined a little bit later by Attila the Hun, Kaz Warfox, and Rational Outlaw. But tonight's topic is actually going to be communist cults of personality and how exactly they've been influencing the American left. And one of the things we're going to start with right here is a bit of a clip from the brand new BuzzFeed video about the life and legend of Che Guevara, who, for those of you who are not aware, Che Guevara was the executioner for the Castro brothers during the revolt in Cuba, and then led the revolt in Bolivia, where he was finally captured by American soldiers and sailors and was publicly executed. So, here we go. I'm going to start the screen share. Now, remember, this is BuzzFeed's video here. I'm actually going to bring it to about right here. And here we go. It's going to take a minute to spool up, apparently, because it didn't like me skipping forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, thank God it's BuzzFeed, because I hate biased stuff, man. So it's nice to have an unbiased source to finally go to.
Well, I think you might be disappointed here because I don't think that this is going to be as unbiased as you think. In fact, I was watching this before I had to refresh it to try to run it for this stream, and apparently now it's not going to let me run it. So,
of course.
Well, here we'll talk about it while it's trying to spool. There we go. Now, they start off with like a whole minute of the hippie revolution.
The summer of love. The Motorcycle Diaries.
And this didn't just happen in Europe. This also happened in the United States. It's one of the reasons we have all the Che Guevara t-shirts and all the Che Guevara posters. And it's been going on since the 1960s. Hey, Kaz, how you doing?
What's up?
Kat? Oh, okay, you are there.
Hey, dude.
Kaz, we were just watching the first bit of the video.
First what?
From BuzzFeed. The first bit of the video from BuzzFeed about Che Guevara.
Che Guevara.
Where it talks about him being the most important man of the era of the 1960s. Yeah. This is a primary example of what I was talking about when I said communist cult of personality. The infamous butcher of Cuba, the Castro's executioner, the man who murdered women and children with an AK-47.
It's not what he did; it's what he represents.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
What, you mean death and mayhem?
I guess that works with his actions. Yeah, of course.
Well, he was also extremely prejudiced. He was known as being homophobic, racist, extremely sexist also. But he used to get
some of the
idealized.
quotes, I mean, are just incredibly fucking racist. I mean, it's like, good Lord. I mean, if anybody on the left said anything close to this stuff, man, they would be justified as a white supremacist. I mean, even anything even close. I'll find some shit for you, man.
All right.
Just look at what's going on with the New York Times right now and Sarah Young.
Oh, you mean the I'm gonna dox you New York Times type of thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's not
except
doxing when we do it. New York Times.
except Sarah Jeong is so much more polite than Shay was. She's just talking about hating white people. Shay hated pretty much anybody that wasn't pure Hispanic, Cuban, or Bolivian.
Jesus, people. But
Yeah,
apparently that's not racism though, because you ain't white.
yeah.
Therefore, it ain't racist.
Now here's what's really funny. Shay was actually trained by the CIA. So were the Castro brothers and the entire staff of the communist revolt in Cuba.
Oh boy.
They were trained in Nicaragua by the CIA in the early 1960s, and even assisted in getting to Cuba from the CIA.
Well, shit.
Yeah, we basically set up Cuba to become communist.
Well, now, what was the logic behind that shit? Now, see, I've never heard that before in my life.
It really happened. They were originally being trained
Well, I don't doubt it.
to overthrow the corrupt government in Cuba. And then a American sympathetic president was elected, and the CIA tried to push them back to Cuba, but wasn't going to support their attempted takeover, hoping that they'd die off.
Right.
Because originally they had been training them to help overthrow the mob-corrupted government in Cuba and stop the American mafia from taking over Cuba. That was their whole initial attempt by the CIA, was to stop the mafiosos from ruling Cuba,
Well, that didn't work.
basically. No, it very much didn't.
It didn't make that doesn't make a lick of sense, does it, man?
Man, you're preaching to the choir here. Okay.
No, I'm not like questioning anything, man. I'm just saying when you think about, them, because they did stupid shit like that, man. It doesn't make a lick of sense.
It really doesn't.
I don't understand. Well, I was just like, this is proof that the deep state, has had the fucking control stick, has had the joystick for a long time.
Oh, yes, they have. And not only have they had the joystick for a long time, but they've been using it regularly.
Here's one of the passages from the Motorcycle Diaries about blacks. They were indolent. After visiting workers' slums in Caracas, he said that they were indolent, and his observations were stereotypical of white, especially Argentine arrogance and condescension. Anderson wrote in the book, who maybe have a tendency to see themselves in very different from the rest of Latin America. I think it's a stretch to call him a racist, that there are so many things to criticize Guevara about. This is not one of them. This is the guy that wrote the book about it, right? So he's trying to justify, his remarks. He says,
oh, yeah.
Let's see. As for this quote, we're going to do for the blacks exactly what the blacks did for the revolution, and this means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he was working with them in Africa. He said that they were lazy, they smelled horrible, they had horrible. I gotta find some quotes though. See that's what I hate about these fucking articles, is that you pull them up and then it's all like excuses, and the truth is buried like in very small places.
Oh, yeah.
You have to like read it, so let me get microscopic while you guys keep talking. How about that?
You mean like the same like articles? They're just like Alex Jones got like kicked from like all the platforms, but it's not collusion, guys. Trust us.
Yeah, it all happens in it all happens the same day,
Yeah.
Man,
it all happened within an hour of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not collusion at all.
I think they wanted you people to know that was collusion, and they're like, that's like swinging their dicks,
So that isn't going to backfire in any way. Totally.
No, it's a threat. It's a veiled threat, man.
Yeah, no.
Anybody else, you get out of line, goddamn it! Look at what we'll do to your ass.
Yeah, I keep hearing how this is going to backfire on the left. How is it going to backfire on the left?
Well, look at all the apps that have been downloaded to their phones for InfoWars this past 2 days. That's one example, I would say.
I'm thinking more about the overall chilling effect it has on more right-wing conservatives who may not be willing, who want to use Facebook and Twitter, and Instagram, who may be less likely to want to discuss certain topics or,
Well, that's part of the reason I have Gab and Twitter and BitChute and YouTube and Minds and Coffee and Patreon and is because I'm trying to allow people to get in touch with me in as many ways as possible and consume my content.
And you never know when they eventually find out a way to get your account suspended or permanently deleted.
Yeah, and also if they're working in conjunction with one another, like we saw with Alex Jones.
Yeah. Well, and that's also why I'm using some of the smaller companies that most definitely won't collude with some of these big. BitChute has already said that while they'll take feed data directly from YouTube, they will not censor anybody.
Was it
right now? Yeah.
Isn't BitChute like growing exponentially right now in terms of memberships and people like using their site because of this shit?
It is, and it's one of the reasons I'm trying to push my BitChute subscribers more. I mean, I've got close to 60 BitChute subscribers right now.
No, that's not bad, actually.
Well, considering I've got over 200 on YouTube and over 1,000 on Twitter, I'm hoping to get more.
Yeah.
But one step at a time,
Mm.
I mean, I'm not Styx Hexenhammer, who's already got 20,000, but,
You need to appear with your shirt open more.
Attract some of the libertarian females wear a shirt, no shirt, and a leather jacket.
There you go.
Well,
I'm gonna clink my spoons. Don't forget about
that. Some scented candles in the background, maybe.
Or maybe in my kilt with my beard jewelry in.
There you go.
But to be fair, when I get to Tennessee, I'll probably ditch the screen cap and go to actually showing my face in my videos. So maybe I will get more that way. The big reason I haven't so far is because I'm just worried about getting fired. Oregon is so progressive and I've been fired at 2 separate jobs for being a conservative, that I was just worried I'd get fired.
So what happened when you were fired at both jobs? Maybe tell us the story of the more egregious one.
Well, one of them, they said that I missed 3 hours from my workstation in 3 days when I had an hour lunch.
And that was something that they would not have ordinarily fired someone for?
Not for taking hour-long lunches, no.
Hmm.
Another one was a contract position, and they had me there. I left. They brought me back. I left. They brought me back. And then they saw that I had in my bag, I had some mail from a local Republican candidate that I had responded to. And I was in the middle of reading at lunch. And I got walked out the next day.
Wow.
RIP.
Yeah. They never claimed it was because I was a conservative, but getting walked out the next day after reading some mail from a
Republican there's always a pretext.
Yeah. And
it's always annoying when people look for your shit. I'm like, oh no, I put furry shit out on the internet. Oh no, how dare my employer figure out I'm into porn? Oh, so scary.
Yeah, but it's a little different when your employer fires you because of your political affiliation.
Yeah,
you're not pushing at work.
It's really petty as fuck when they do that shit. It's like, really?
Yeah. And since I'm definitely in the minority in Oregon, there's not a whole lot of repercussion I can get.
Yeah, well, at least you're the minority where you are at in Oregon. Well, I understand when you get out of the Portland metropolitan area, it gets pretty red pretty quickly.
It does to a certain extent, but it's not so much as people think. So Bend is still very progressive. Salem is still very progressive. Even Eugene and Springfield is still very progressive.
Yeah,
But here's
college
what's really
towns.
funny. Here's what's really funny. A lot of these people in these towns don't realize I'm a conservative because I'm not your traditional Christian conservative. I'm, 1776. And so what they don't really get is that I don't really care what they do in their bedroom. I don't care what color they want to dye their hair. I don't care what they want to call themselves.
Yeah.
And because I don't care about any of that, they can't really wrap their head around the fact that I'm still conservative. It's kind of weird for them. I guess they just don't get it.
Yeah. Rip.
God, man, they really buried this shit. It's so weird. Because it used to be really easy to find these quotes, man.
Oh, yeah. They've been burying stuff from Shea. They've been burying stuff from Castro since Castro died, man. They're trying to lionize
this. This is why you have to pull the archives. Archives are your friend.
This is Che Guevara with Alvaro Vargas Llosa shows in the Che Guevara myth and the future of liberty was a megalomaniacal murderer. Embarrassingly, for the young idealist supporting his image, he was also a racist, a homophobe, and anti-Semite. And this is a quote, all right? The NEGRO is indolent and lazy. Che opined in his about the Congolese comrades that he was trying to train to revolt and spends his money on frivolities, whereas the European is forward-looking, organized, and intelligent. Ignorance about the real Che is universal. Thus, Angola's capital of Luanda boasts a Che Guevara Street, and the South African capital of Pretoria. South African capital of Pretoria may soon be graced by a street with the same name.
Well, apparently, guys, we've already gotten a dislike as well.
Well, what they need are Che shirts with quotes, his actual quotes on the back and on the front, right?
Right.
Yep.
Together with that iconic Che image.
Yeah, the iconic image of him with his goatee looking kind of majestic, and then on the back, actual quotes from his writings. Oh, man, do you know the kind of salt that would cause? But yeah, guys, apparently we've already gotten a downvote. So, don't know who that was, but thank you for deciding to downvote without even telling us why you don't like it. That's much appreciated. That just makes me feel like I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
So, if you guys are ready, I'm going to try to set up the second clip here. So, I'm going to present me, and then we're going to start the screen share.
Wait, what?
And you know what's interesting about Guevara? He was trained as a doctor and took the Hippocratic oath. Yeah, I believe he was.
Wow. I didn't know that.
He had done a lot of different things when he was being educated. But yeah, and of course there we go again, the communists fighting fascists yet again, even during the age of communism and in Soviet Russia, they were still putting down fascists. You know.
Yep. Instead of healing people that like he took an oath to do, you know, he's putting bullets in them.
Yep.
Fucking fucked up piece of shit. You
Well,
know?
and it's
But I
not
knew
just
he
Shay.
was. Yeah, I knew he was human fecal matter though, you know, from the get go.
Well, and it wasn't just Shay that was like this either. Because I mean, when you start looking back, you look at Lenin, you look at Stalin. Stalin was a mass murderer. He killed tens of millions of Russians, either through starvation, imprisonment, forced labor. Then you go to Mao. Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao. The man was a butcher. I mean, just plain and simple. You've seen some of what he did, didn't you, Irate?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the work. You've seen the works about Chairman Mao and some of the stuff he did.
Oh, dude.
During the Communist Revolution in China.
Yeah, and then you know, and then once he took over, you know, I keep focusing on the Great Leap Forward because that was like some of the most vicious, brutal shit that has ever happened on this earth, and literally the world turned their back on it and just let it happen. You know.
Yes, they did.
You know, and United States was just right up there as guilty as the rest of the rest of the world. You know, and not many. You know, I guess we condemned it. I haven't really looked in. You know, it's like I need to look at some more of this. I've been fascinated with the early development of socialist. You know how socialism and communism entered, you know, into Russia and what the Soviet system looked like. I'm getting to a point where I'd like to start looking at Mao and his philosophy and how what his concept, because what it is, man, is that there's all these different. There's a philosophical component to socialism and to communism that basically it's like psychology. Everybody, there's no one like this is what it looks like. This is how it works. Right? There's all these different approaches, and each one is like, well, I'm doing it the correct way, or you're doing it the wrong way, and I have yet to see one go over 100 years, go to 100 years.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, the United States is a fairly young country. I mean, we were founded in 1776, basically, with a revolution, but we're still far more stable than most communist countries have ever been.
We have the oldest continuously operating government.
Yeah,
we do currently have the oldest continuously operating government in the world, and it's kind of sad.
Well, we've added, there are some socialist components, that have been plugged into certain parts of our government. I would say, the Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, all that stuff. It's like socialist light,
It really is, but we are still, for the most part, a capitalistic society
but we're free.
Based on a republic.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, to be fair, we could probably reduce or diminish or completely remove a lot of those social.
Right, I was going to say we could vote all that shit out tomorrow,
yep.
If we wanted to. So, that's the difference.
But it seems that these cults of personality, not only do they create chaos and mayhem, but then they seem to get apologized for. I mean, let's look at what's going on in Venezuela right now. Maduro has basically bankrupted the country, nationalized it. And the left is apologizing and saying it's not real socialism.
Exactly. It's always, well, that's not real communism. That's not real socialism.
Right.
Funny how every attempt at both of those ends up taking you down the same road, though.
Well, yeah, every attempt ends up with bread lines and dead people due to starvation. I mean, socialism is the only design where you wait on bread instead of bread waiting on you.
And a lot of people don't know. All right, when the Soviet Union was in its early days, At one point, there were all these farms that were owned by like middle class to poor farmers. You know, it was like they were barely raising enough crops to feed their family, you know, through the winter time, right? And the winters are fucking humongously long, you know, in Russia.
Oh yeah.
And at one point, you know, the government turns on them and says, okay, now you need to share, you know, these ridiculous percentages of their crops, which, you know, is like one half is going to starve somebody in your family, you know, or, you know, there's going to be malnourishment and somebody's going to die because, you know, they're going to get sick and shit.
Well, it's not only that, but the Hovnoy, the farmers that were the most efficient, Stalin rounded up over 50,000 of them and put them in gulags.
Yep.
And then handed their land to people who lived in cities who had never farmed a day in their life and told them to go farm this land.
Right.
And that just caused untold starvation. We don't even know the numbers that died from
that. Yeah, well, his whole idea of how much he was so fucking retarded when it came to this shit. You know, it's almost like he was, well, it was actually was not retarded. He was paranoid. And, you know, he was so obsessed with being overthrown that, you know, all these moves were designed to put the people that possibly could have gained enough power to go against him, you know, put them away or kill them, especially like in the military. You know, that's why everything that happened at the beginning of the war happened, because all the good generals and shit had been killed. You know,
yeah,
Cossacks and shit. You know, all those great, you know, crazy Cossacks and their mustaches and shit and sabers.
Yeah.
You know, right?
They had all been either gulagged or they had been beaten down to a bloody pulp by the government,
or firing squad.
Or firing squad. I mean, so that they couldn't rebel because he was worried that they were going to overthrow it. With good reason. Stalin was a relatively weak individual and did not have a lot of support of the more powerful generals. Most of the generals had followed Lenin because Lenin was a very dedicated individual.
And, you know, there's no real accurate, I guess this is intentional too, record of exactly who Stalin was.
You know, prior to him taking power, yeah.
Exactly, because, you know, he adopted a new name. Stalin literally means steel.
Well, they didn't have Twitter back then, so.
Yeah, no shit. You know, because the information is, you know, I don't think half of Russia could read anyway.
No, they couldn't at the time. At that point in time, I think it was only a 22% literacy rate in Russia.
Wow.
Because we're talking about the time when the Tsar was still in power, when Lenin took over. And the literacy rate started growing under Lenin. But it was only 22 to 26%. But then again, in the United States, it was only 34% at that time.
Yeah. And there was a rumor like he was some kind of thief or some kind of criminal. And when the revolution came, you know, he saw that as an opportunity to legitimize murder and shit, you know, and stealing shit from people. You know, he was, you know, cleaning houses out, kind of like what Soros did, you know,
under the Nazis. Yeah.
Under the Nazis, exactly.
Okay, so I just got an update from Oregon Public Broadcasting about the primary results in Washington, real quick. Okay, apparently none of the results are in. They were just announcing that they were going to be keeping live election results. I will probably share them with you guys before we go offline, just so everybody can see them. But yes, Washington State is in the middle of a primary tonight, so hopefully we can see some red wave action in Washington State. Sorry about that. Let's continue back to our topic.
Well, something I threw on the side here. Maybe we'll talk about this in a little bit.
Oh, you mean the incident where Candace Owens was verbally assaulted until she left a
I don't know. I didn't know what had actually happened to her, but I had seen that she was unquote attacked.
Yeah, she
And
was verbally assaulted by several people.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. He was. He had water thrown on him. That is an actual assault. There was an egg thrown at him, and that group that surrounded them. I mean, that had to have made them feel very unsafe. That was a scary situation. Thank God that the police were there.
But they were calling Candace Owens a white supremacist. They were calling Charlie Cook a white supremacist.
I mean,
I don't know how a black woman can be a white supremacist, but okay. They were calling them both Nazis.
well, we live in the era when Ben Shapiro's a Nazi, so anything's possible.
Well, and of course, the gay, half Greek, half Jewish boy Milo Yiannopoulos is called a Nazi and the poster child of the alt-right. I still don't get how that works.
I don't get it either. He loves black cock, but hey, you know, he's a Nazi. Whatever.
Kaz, do you have some insight for us on that? Maybe I don't know.
That is so cancer. I'm not even sure what to say about that.
I know, dude.
Basically, how it usually work is like if you're a waiter and shit, and you people straws before you ask them, you get in trouble.
Oh, I know, man.
Straw ban.
Well, so did you hear that Washington went up to California on that?
What?
Yeah, so it's not just straws. Straws, plastic forks, plastic spoons, plastic knives, and sporks. All of them.
They're going after your sporks, people.
Yeah.
It's your sporks.
You won't be able to get a spork at Taco Bell anymore for your nachos Del Grande.
You know, this is all supposed to be about keeping the oceans free of discarded plastic. And supposedly the United States only contributes it's just a fractional amount of the plastic. Like 90% of it comes from Africa and Asia.
Yeah. And India and China.
Yeah.
But see, this comes back to this love of the cult of personality. They're wanting to dictate what it is you
the global warming religion.
Don't get to use. Well, it's not even the global warming religion. So when you look at all of these cults of personality, Che Guevara, the Castros, Stalin, Lenin, Mao, Pol Pot.
Well, I don't really see a cult of personality on the environmental front, though. Who's the cult of personality there? Certainly not Al Gore. You know.
It really is. It's Al Gore. There's a guy in Canada who owns his own private plane that pushes this stuff. Then again, there's also the Green Party members and the enviro-terrorists from Greenpeace and PETA.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Al Gore, by the way. I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that Al Gore is on the side of everyone. Everyone can be a part of this. All you have to do, if you're wealthy and you have a huge carbon footprint, you can offset that by giving me money. If you give me, say, like $50,000, I can give you 400 carbon offset points, and those apply to, like, you know, the gas that you put in your maybe your G7, or if you know, your vehicle, if you drive, you know, and even if you have a driver, you may apply that to the, you know, his flatulence or something to that effect. But everybody can take part in this. You know, the rich can take place in this too. And of course, taxation, that's a completely different ball game. But I just want to know that I can help you with those carbon footprints. We can make them small, people.
Thank you very much, Al Gore. Of course, you know, as we reduce those carbon footprints, we also reduce the amount that we make the frogs gain, right?
You reduce the what?
We reduce the amount of making the frogs gain, right?
I don't know a thing about that.
But you don't know your friend Alex Jones?
Well, you know, when I sold Al Jazeera to Al Jazeera, I washed my hands of pretty much all the, you know, television and all that stuff. I'm sticking to documentaries. You know,
okay.
I want them. I'm going to have an Oscar before I go off this planet.
Of course you are.
You know, I'm just saying. Pepper can get her little mothers of the, record control thing. Then I've got to have something. I'm just still.
Oh,
Just not
everyone,
fair.
I'm going to share a quick screen cap here. I just got a lovely, lovely share on Twitter. And I want to thank the Patriot 293 for sharing this.
Oh, this is
See,
awesome.
This is the socialist Garcia Cortez from New York, and here she is as Shay. Here she is as Chairman Mao. Here she is as Castro. Here she is as Marx.
Oh, please forward that to me, dude.
And here she is as Stalin. I will go ahead and download a copy of this and forward it to you. Very much irate. I thought everybody would get a kick out of this because this is just absolutely gorgeous. And of course, I'm going to love and retweet this before I download.
Yeah, Al just had to go change his depends.
Oh god, this chick looks like she's got no soul.
She really does, man. And yet she is another one of these cult of personality members that we are talking about tonight.
Yeah.
What was it she was saying that was so ridiculous, man?
That she thinks she can actually pay for Medicare for all.
There was something else that was even more ridiculous. I mean, just what the fuck?
Well, she talked about how there was a Palestinian occupation.
Yes.
And then she also talked about how we were just going to have to reduce the military budget and raise the corporate tax again to provide Medicaid for all.
Oh God.
Never mind the fact that the military budget is what actually keeps us from, having people overrun our borders.
She honestly strikes me as pretty much every left-wing college graduate who, right when they graduate, they've taken all these classes and got all this left-wing shit from their professors, and they graduate thinking that they know what's wrong with the world,
Look, I want to say it. She's the left-wing Candace Owens.
Yes, she is.
I mean, come on, we got to own that shit. Just saying.
She really is. I'll give you that. Irate. She definitely can be the left wing's Candace Owens.
But guys, Love Without Borders watches this immigrant guy rapes my 2-year-old sister.
And it's really sad that New York actually put her into a candidacy for the Democrat Party. I'm hoping the people of New York are rational enough in the general election.
I don't know. I think it might be good for the Republicans to have all these super left-wing people who are gaining prominence, because I think a lot of the moderate people on the left are thinking, what the fuck is going on? I mean, now we have the whole walk-away movement, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's in part spurred by the fact that you see how just off the cliff the left is going. And her election is part of that.
It's with people like her that kind of helps make sure the conservatives have a huge argument against the left, especially about socialism. And so in return, that kind of gives the right, the more power against the left. It's the same. It's the same logic with Alex Jones right now. The fact that he's getting censored at all, it's just going to backfire on them.
Yeah.
Come on. Everyone knows that.
I see people saying that Maxine Waters needs to be voted out of office and needs to be replaced. I think, you know what? Hell no, she's the best. Leave her in there. She is amazing. She is a campaign ad. It's a 24/7 campaign ad, constantly streaming. All the stuff that she says and does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is literally. She's a walking campaign ad to elect nothing but Republicans except for her district.
It's because of people like her that, obviously the conservatives will get more power, because it's like, this chick's crazy and she's a crazy lefty. You want more crazy lefties? Fuck no. Let's have more conservatives instead.
See, that's just like today. I don't know if you guys are following some of the jazz I was dealing with on Twitter today, but I got told flat out by a bunch of people there are no conservatives in Portland still. And I looked at them and I'm like, really? Because I'm in the Portland metro area. And
they're on the down low.
That sounds retarded. It's like saying there's no conservatives in California. It's just like, are you retarded?
Well, I mean, you and Rational are down there, and I know there's others besides you.
Yeah.
I've gotten contacted by a bunch of them. They like watching my videos. But all of us are hiding out here on the West Coast. Why? Because if we don't, we get attacked. And one of these crazies was like, well, no, there aren't any except for these alt-right, neo-Nazi styles. And I looked at I responded back, really? Because I'm a 1776 conservative. How does that make me alt-right? That's original right. That's original right, people. What do you mean by that? What are you talking about? I'm talking about John Locke and Thomas Paine. I'm talking Federalist Papers and Benjamin Franklin.
But guys, everything I don't like is Nazis. Therefore, you're a Nazi.
That's pretty much what I got back, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how is that alternative right? How is that new right? That's not new. That's what we were founded on.
Right. I mean, that shit's like from the 1800s, man. You know?
Yeah. It's back from our founding. It's the
Nothing
17 and 1800s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what the French Revolution was based on initially, for crying out loud. Individual thought, individual responsibility, no more monarchy. Replace monarchy with authoritarian dictatorship. I still believe that. Because we're not going back to kings after all. That ship has sailed. The left doesn't believe enough in religion anymore to do kings again.
Yeah. It's a good luck trying to reinduce monarchies.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they might under his law.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe if everything becomes socialist and communist, I guess they would just revert back to that shit.
It's entirely possible that they would, after 20 or 40 years of absolute starvation and privation. Whoever survived would end up in a dictatorial monarchy of some sort by his law.
Excuse me for a second, guys.
Yeah.
But guys, socialism works, though.
Of course.
I thought it works. Trust me, my anarcho-socialism buddies told me it works.
Exactly.
That tells me that it works because reasons.
Yep. So, are we ready to do another clip here from BuzzFeed on this video? All right, let me present myself again. And then start the screen grab. And here we go.
What a handsome lad.
Yeah.
So what is this exactly?
It's Che with Uncle Fester from the Addams Family.
No, I mean like this whole video clip of.
So that was part of the BuzzFeed Che Guevara, a man, a legend in his own time. And part of the reason we're having this discussion is to talk about this cult of personality that has kind of sprung up around communism worldwide. And nobody epitomizes that better than Che Guevara, one of the heroes of the extreme left. So yeah, that video is brought to you by BuzzFeed News on YouTube.
So wait, are they praising him or something?
Yes, they are.
Praising him, they are stroking him.
Che Guevara's legend grew when his diaries were published after his death, a glimpse into the revolutionary legacy that would endure. Published August 4th, 2018.
Did they forget the bad things the very bad things he did or something?
Well, of course, the thing about socialist or communistic leaders, every time they do something, the fellow socialist or communist would be in return be like, well, he did what was necessary for the revolution, therefore
You have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Never mind the fact that the omelet never appears, but you know.
Yes, that's the philosophy they live under, and it's an interesting argument to make when you realize that you know the whole, what was it, the anthill philosophy they work under. It's like they think that everyone's ants, and there's only like that one person who's like the queen of the ants, and everyone has to be the slave to that particular system. This is the kind of crazy shit these people believe in.
So apparently we got another dislike. Thank you, whoever disliked and didn't bother to comment. That is always appreciated because I have no clue what you disliked. So thank you very much. That just means I'm doing the right thing.
Dislikes make me look right, though.
Well, here's some people don't understand is that thumbs up or thumbs down doesn't matter to the algorithm. It sees it as a hit, and therefore there's no such thing as a bad thumb.
You know, I'm thinking the reason why it's that way now is because of so many left-wing videos were getting so many dislikes.
They really were.
I'm wondering if that's the reason why, because since the left-wing videos weren't maybe coming up as much unless they purposefully made them come up, they changed it so that way it won't matter whether the left-wing videos got a lot of dislikes, and so they'll just come up more easily.
Yeah.
Well, my philosophy has always been if you're going to dislike and not leave a comment, then obviously you're just telling me I'm doing something right. You're not even going to bother to argue with me or write a rebuttal. And that just means that I'm right and you can't argue. You don't know why I'm right. And you don't know why I'm wrong.
Socialism works because of reasons.
Exactly, Kaz.
Venezuela is a good example of socialism, but all the money in Venezuela is like the equivalent of fucking like World of Warcraft coins.
I've got an early. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it takes a wheelbarrow full of money of the Venezuela bolivars now to buy a loaf of bread, except the wheelbarrow's worth more than the wheelbarrow full of money.
Oh shit!
Like
they are literally living that out right now, man.
Jesus Christ!
It's 10,000 bolivars to the dollar.
By the way, who's the other person who's in just completely black? Because I can't see any avatar or anything.
That is
me. I'm trying to remedy that right now, actually.
Yeah, he's a guest of mine. He's on my Twitter feed. He
you have a problem with black?
Absolutely not. I'm just because I couldn't see any. I can't see any profile pic. That's all. I'm just like it's just like a blank screen.
I found like one of what is her name? Ortiz. I've got
Ortiz Cortez.
Yeah, I've got a little short speech by her. Listen to this. It's
we better be careful playing that, man. I could end up with a content strike.
It's just about it's the battle cry of the left of the United States.
How dare does Trump win? Trump is literally Hitler. How did he win?
I'll stop.
Literally autistic fucking furry with the maps like fucking band on their wrist, going like, "Why has Trump win? Why?"
Oh, you mean the minor attracted persons band? Oh,
yeah, that's going around. That's making their fucking rounds.
Really, man? Seriously?
Yeah, when I first heard that shit from like Leaf, I was literally losing my shit at how retarded that is. Literally, like one of them was like saying, "Oh, I'm a human," though. I'm like, "No, you're not. You're not a fucking human. Go die somewhere." No one wants you here.
You know, realistically, if they never touch a child and they never act on their urges, I can care less. Keep it to yourself. it does.
Well, I prefer not to keep it to themselves so much as just get help for it.
Yeah, go
Some
get
fucking
yourself
help,
some
yeah.
help, some mental help. But if you never act on it and you never touch a child, I can at least accept that exists. But the second you touch someone without consent of that nature, yeah, I can't accept it.
Exactly.
I'll
That's
just be
just
like,
wrong.
sometimes on Twitter, I'm just like, hey, you're in children. You're like, yeah. I'm like, well, how about you? You one of these days, no one would miss you if you were drinking whiskey on the table in your dining room one night, and you just decide to play Russian roulette, and you pulled the right trigger, and you're 6 miles into hell. Just I don't care.
Yep.
Well, the world would be better off without you, faggot.
Or of course, as Six says, sharks need love too. So maybe we should feed the pedophiles to the sharks. But yeah, so the big problem I have with these cults of personality is that that's what they are. They literally are cults. These
Yeah, of course.
communist leaders, all of them, the only thing that they have going for them is the fact that they are a cult of personality. And that is what creates these groups that worship. It's one of the reasons we're still seeing Stalin t-shirts, and we're still seeing Marx posters and Marx flags.
I will say I have not seen a Stalin shirt. Occasionally I do see the Che shirt.
Never seen this?
No, I'm not saying I've never seen one. I haven't seen one in quite a long time, though. I have seen the Che shirt. Though.
Shoot, I think Amazon actually has a Stalin shirt.
Jesus, I don't think I've seen a Stalin shirt before. I've seen Fidel Castro a lot in where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see like the Fidel Castro or like the hammer and sickle. I've never seen the Stalin shirt.
Yeah, that's the most I see, which is common in my area. I've never seen.
There you go.
Stalin, though.
There's like 10 of them.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying they don't exist. I just never seen anyone wear any.
Oh, wow.
So
good Christ.
So to be fair, I've been out to several Portland May Days, and you can ask Kaz. I actually interviewed some commies at Portland May Day this year, and one of the commies I interviewed was actually wearing a Stalin shirt and had a hammer and sickle flag with marks on it.
Well, you'd expect them to dress up for the occasion, yes.
And was wearing a red skull face mask with a red bandana with a hammer and sickle on the front with a black leather jacket. And BDU commies were combat boots. Yeah. And so, I mean, he was
how much their daddy
Communist
paid
Red
for
Army
that?
decked.
Oh, I bet they
I
paid
have
for
no
it.
clue. I didn't ask that. I asked him what he thought he was accomplishing by being out there. And he said, raising awareness. And I said, raising awareness of what? And he's like, of communism. And I'm like, and you think there are people who don't actually know what communism is? Well, yeah, plenty of people have never heard of it. And I just looked at him.
I must spread the word of communism like a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, it's almost a religion for these people.
No, it is a religion because everything about it and how people believe it is exactly like a religion. It's based on entirely off of writings and concepts and papers,
Right.
not based on practicality.
Politics is the opiate of the masses. See, and that's something that fucking they said that religion needed to be taken out, right? And part of the whole socialist plan to take over the United States, was to destabilize the human family, to delegitimize religion and beliefs in a God or whatever, and so it's like, but there's something in that void that people are just need to fill, and they're filling it with all kinds of shit, with drugs, with sex, or with gambling addiction, and religion. That's one of those things that's taken that place.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't just religion that Marx said had to be gotten rid of. He said all of society as it currently stands. So it's religion, its morality, its laws, all of it had to be done away with, and a whole new system.
How terrifying to think about like that, huh?
It really is terrifying. How are you doing, Atema?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Really well. Glad you finally got a chance to join us. I'm glad your stream finally.
Yeah, I apologize for taking so long.
It's all right. You can watch the rest of the stream at some point in time, I'm sure, because we actually have already shown 2 or 3 clips of the BuzzFeed article, and I don't want to show any more because I'm worried they might try to content strike me.
Okay.
Even though I'm going to include like a disclaimer at the beginning of this stream when I'm done, and also include credits to their video and make sure everybody knows that that's their video because BuzzFeed News produced it just a couple of days ago, actually.
Mhm.
Oof.
Yeah, but it was lionizing Che, and we were just talking about how all of the different communist groups are basically cults of personality.
Where's the lie, though?
That's the problem. There is no lie there. I mean, go ahead.
Okay, well, I think the one thing everybody keeps talking about, extolling the virtues of Marx's philosophical waxings, but this was a man who drank excessively and loved to rape his maid in front of his house guests. He had no grasp on reality, and he's talking about getting rid of society as it stands now and replacing it with something that isn't human, because the society we have now is natural and organic. And to me, it's insane to think that this is a good idea.
Well, nice that you mentioned that point, because
Testify.
wasn't Marx like literally all about women's rights or something, and he fucking rapes a maid or something?
He raped his maid till she got pregnant and then kicked her out of the house.
So one of the things that happened was with Prairie Fire, they adopted the Marxist concepts, the Marxist structures, and attempted to implement it. And Stalin called feminism Marxism in a skirt.
Oof.
Which is true.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair, yeah.
Because when you really look at like Prairie Fire and like the temperance movement of the 1800s and the prohibition movement of the 1800s, which also tied in with the KKK, they were basically trying to fundamentally change society to create these whole new strictures that weren't religious-based, that were social normatives. They basically were the precursors to the SJWs.
Yeah, they were. Well, they're the basis of what created the progressive movement. I mean, we're talking like Teddy Roosevelt progressive movement here, which is the foundations, and that's all based on socialism and communism. That stems from Marxism and Stalinism. So it's bad stuff.
It all is. And one of the things that the United States still has from that progressive attempt was the progressive income tax, which was something extolled upon by Marx specifically. He actually talked about you needed to have a progressive income tax in order to pay for your new society, and that you needed to steal from the immigrant, take everything they possess, and use that to fund your new society. So,
not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean that was specific. I mean that's right out of the manifesto.
Damn.
You know that's straight out of the manifesto. It was part of his 13 tenets to create the revolution. And I mean, when you start talking about that, he's advocating theft. He's advocating an immoral action, a very immoral action. But he's claiming it's moral because of the greater good.
Yeah, but there's that morality word. That morality word is really annoying to me because that is so wholly subjective that whoever decides they are moral feels they can do whatever they want in the name of their morality. That's the problem with a lot of organized religions too.
And I get that, Timo. What I'm going back to is the old school concept of morality, which is I have the right to possess what is me and what is the fruit of my labor. You have the right to possess what is you and the fruit of your labor. I can't infringe upon your labor, or I'm being immoral. That's where I take that back to. And I know I'm kind of a weirdo when I do that, because that's not where people take it anymore. Everybody tries to take it in some sort of pseudo-religious concept. And I take it to this kind of secularist, biological imperative. But
okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. When I'm looking at Marx's philosophy of theft as being immoral, I'm looking at it from the perspective of stealing from someone is taking what they possess, which is the fruit of their labor, and that is immoral. It has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, I get touchy about the word morality. Personally, it's a me thing.
Well, if you prefer, we can call it ethical.
Well, and that's what the deal. Well, see, here's the deal, though, is that everybody is trying to claim a moral high ground, right? Yeah. You know, and it's some type of it's like what word am I trying to use? It's like it's this intangible thing that ranks a person supposedly higher than another person and gives them permission to do whatever the fuck they're doing.
Morality.
Right, no matter who it hurts. Right.
And I guess that's maybe my problem with the word morality, is that it has so much baggage attached to it that we tend to use it in a way that it has so many different definitions now. It's kind of a scary word sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I get that. That's why I said if you would prefer, we can call it ethical.
Yeah, ethical.
It's completely unethical. Because when you start talking about taking something that isn't yours, whether you're justifying it for good or for ill, it's still not yours. You have no right to that to begin with. It's not yours.
Preach. Exactly.
Yep. I mean, which is why I go all the way back to John Locke and Thomas Paine, and why I'm a 1776 conservative.
Yeah, I'm a constructionist constitutionalist when it comes to my American political beliefs. I think we should stick to just what the Constitution says.
You and I are pretty much very similar in that respect.
What is going on?
I think that's somebody.
Leviticus.
Somebody's fapping.
Yep. Are you okay there? Are you okay there, Reason?
Yeah.
Your mic kept activating. Your mic kept activating.
Oh, I have no idea.
He's using his family member's laptop, guys. So it could just be.
Okay. I hear it.
I get the apprehension towards the argument of morality, because those who tend to want to justify immoral things likes to preference immoral actions by saying it's moral to do this or that, and hides that under a shield of certain actions. Like plenty of the communists tend to do that all the time. They believe that they have a moral obligation to take all the power and use it as their will first. And there's no practicality under that, and that's why communism tends to fail out of thousands of reasons. The reason why the founding fathers worked was because they didn't use that as a moral obligation. They went with the practical solution to it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, they did what is so difficult to do, and they were pretty much the only ones that have done it, which is they rejected power instead of accepted it.
Yeah.
And that takes a very strong individual.
It's really interesting you guys are talking about this, because we were just discussing this sort of thing in modern day, current year, this week, with Jeremy Hambley getting attacked and Twitch.
Quartering.
The quartering.
Oh, the courting guy you're talking about.
Yeah. They were attacked by the San Jose Trump rally back in 2016.
Yeah.
That happened before the Charlottesville rally where the girl got killed.
Yeah. Long before.
They were talking about how there's legal precedent to sue the San Jose police, because they actually did actions that endangered the pro-Trump people, and they didn't stop the violence that occurred to them in any. They took away the barricades and stuff, and they let these people get attacked. And there's talk about legal precedents for that, to sue the city of San Jose, which may possibly need to be done, because I think a lot of these leftist urban areas, people are allowing their emotions and their inability to understand that people disagree with them as a way to justify violence. And if you look at Gen Con doing the same sort of thing, it's not that, like, Gen Con hasn't released a statement saying, oh, we officially condone this stuff, but they've hired a bunch of people that are out there going, oh, we officially condone Jeremy getting his ass kicked by a stranger. and then they promoted the guy's work the next day. So it was,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
and it's all based off of emotion. And I think that's where the word morality sits with me. Is morality is an emotionally based thing, where ethics and principles are a rationally and logically based thing. So that's maybe why I don't like that word.
And I don't consider morals to not be necessarily rational or reasoned concepts. I consider them to be part of the same thing. Part of the problem I have with the base term ethics is that ethics are usually systems of reason.
Yes.
Versus morals, which are individual ideas of correct or incorrect behavior.
And that's why I tend to choose principles.
And I get that. And principles also works well. It's not principled to steal from other people.
Exactly. It's unprincipled to take other people's stuff. It's unprincipled to go hit somebody in a bar because you don't like them. It's...
I have problems with that one, Atima, but as an old soldier, I guess that's because I can't really...
Well,
I'm not going to admit to anything.
I'm not saying it's wrong to get in a bar fight because I've done some pretty bad stuff. Classy felonies, babies. Let's stick to that.
Okay. Classic felonies. Okay, I will agree to that. Classic felonies.
We'll keep it classy, baby, with a K. But I'm more talking about, like, you walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, are you better in Mountain Man?" And you go, "Yeah, how's it going, dude?" And just bam, 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 and start punching somebody. That's pretty unprincipled.
That's extremely unprincipled.
Yeah, just imagine how much of a pussy you have to be. You walk up to somebody, and because you disagree with them, you sucker punch them in the face.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me, actually. I hit the guy back and knocked him cold.
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons I had to say I kind of have a problem with calling it unprincipled to get into a fist fight, because I've done it a few times, usually in self-defense. So I don't really have a high ground to stand on in that situation.
And I have attacked somebody when I was drunk in the parking lot of a bar. I'm not going to go into details, but she had it coming.
And I promise I won't ask any details. We can talk about it offline.
Yeah, but I can't say I'm like perfect or anything, but I can't say that I try to stick to my principles as much as possible. And sometimes stupid shit happens, especially when there's alcohol involved.
Oh yeah, of course.
But that doesn't make this guy walking up. And then he did property damage on top of it. And I guess that objectivist libertarian part of my brain goes, "Oh my God, property damage too? Are you serious? Property damage?" And he was let off. Like, oh my gosh.
He assaulted somebody, destroyed stuff, and then was let go. Yeah. Completely legit.
You might as well let this guy get away with rape and murder while you're at it, okay?
I mean,
just fucking kill somebody.
Property damage is just that as it is. Property damage is just as important to me. It's just as important.
Oh no, I actually do think it's just as retarded to destroy someone's property. That's their fucking work that you destroyed. It costs money and everything. Like that's stupid. You shouldn't.
Once again, it comes back to I own what is mine. I own me, and I own what I've created. And that's part of me.
I just find it funny. You get these leftist retards getting away with every single crime they commit. I'm just like, okay, you might as well let them get away with murder then. I mean, one of these days I get some Antifa fuckers shooting someone down with an AK.
Yeah, you notice these Antifa guys, you notice that none of them own any, you get the impression none of them own any property. They have no investment in the idea of property being part of liberty. Right.
Well, because they're communists. Antifa is anti-fascist. They're communists.
But I know wealthy people who consider themselves, who seem to have a communist identity. But these people are just like look at the people who were attacking Candace Owens and Charlie Kick. You get the impression that these people don't really own any property or anything, right?
They really don't.
They don't have a conceptualization. They can't even wrap their head around the idea that property is part of your liberty.
Yeah, it's part of who you are.
Well, it's part of being human. I mean, property rights. I don't know how many of you have kids, but I have 4, and even as babies, they know what is theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's because to them they view property as an inherent evil.
Yeah.
which is stupid. Okay, I'm being human is evil. I'm not going to be regular human. Are you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, nothing about communism understands the concept of human nature, though. That's why they keep.
Yeah,
Well, to be
because
fair,
we're
guys-
specialized like insects.
To be fair, guys, I was downtown in Portland when the Proud Boys event happened, and I've got some video, and when I start setting up my OBS, I'm going to use the march in of Antifa down Salmon as my intro video, because I've actually got footage of that.
Awesome.
I've got footage of them carrying their sign in German, which says "No more fascism." Yes, 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 yes. In German, I'm standing there. I'm watching them come down the street, marching 7 abreast, blocking the street.
Yeah,
And
you
then
think any fascist would choose a different language than German? You know, it's like, you know, who were the marketing wizards who came up with that one?
But the only thing that could have made it funnier is if they used Italian.
Yeah, that would be the only thing better. And then, well, see, then you've got this group of people in black hoodies with black face masks with these tower shields with the anti-fascist logo on them, like Roman legionnaires standing across from each other with poles, coming down the sidewalk to take up the flank of the marchers. So they even got the Italians in there. I mean, it was great.
Oh, that choked me. That's amazing. That's a lot of self-importance.
It really is. It really is. And I'm glad I've got these videos because I'm planning on using them.
Please tell me you met somebody.
Now I'm doing my part too. Yeah.
Oh,
Say
there
again,
had, to,
Tim.
there had to have been a guy named Nero in that group, right?
I'm pretty sure there was. I did also see a member of MS-13 in the video, and I'm planning on... Yeah, you could tell he was MS-13. I mean, he was tatted from the top of his bald head all the way down to the tops of his toes.
Well, that's just Portland. Come on.
He was wearing open-toed sandals, Hispanic, wearing nothing but shorts, and you could see the MS-13 logo across his chest.
Okay, well, that's a giveaway.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you could tell MS-13 gang member right in the middle of the Antifa crowd.
And everybody keeps wondering why I don't leave my house. Because I live in the Portland area too.
Hey, let me in the country with your kids.
You know,
I live in a suburb.
yeah, there were 5 or 6 of the MS-13 looking guys throughout the mob of Antifa, and I was just so surprised to see gangbangers in the middle of the conference.
Oh, I'm not. Have you looked at Mexico?
No.
Tell me what kind of governmental system does Mexico have?
Tim, I must have not made the sarcasm functional in my voice there.
Aren't they like super socialists though?
They are super socialists. Yes.
That explains a lot, honestly.
Before
Yes.
they were slowly going out of it, but now they're going back into socialism.
Oh yeah.
Really nasty, corrupt, nepotistic style of socialism. It's really, really close to Mussolini's fascism.
It really is. It's borderline national fascists. It's just one step across the line from it.
Oh boy, I can't wait. The socialists try to deny that one.
They deny it already. They're claiming that it's an elected capitalist patriarchy type style government.
Of course they say shit like that.
Trust me, I hear from them all the time, especially the La Raza guys up here in the Portland metro area, where they claim that Oregon. Well, they claim Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, and California are all part of Mexico.
That's right.
And should be returned to the Mexican natives that live there.
Yep.
Hey, Ray, do you remember in the 80s when La Raza started getting really big and they were doing protests down in LA?
Oh, yeah.
Burning cars and shit?
Yep.
Yep. Oh, man.
They were saying this is ours and we're going to claim it back, man.
They've been saying it since at least the 80s. I don't know. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's probably started right after the God, what was that guy's name?
After the Black Panther movement fell?
No, after the bean picker union thing with the dude when they went on strike, or the strawberry.
Oh, yeah.
Cesar Chavez?
Who?
Cesar Chavez?
Chavez, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. Cesar Chavez.
Yeah, there's a street named after him in Portland.
There's a street named after him in almost every major city in
People don't
America.
realize he used to turn in illegal aliens. he understood the effect of illegal immigration, especially on the legal immigrant farm workers, how it destroyed and suppressed their wages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's also the one that created the actual migrant program.
Yep. Yep. And of course, at this point, we are down to the most recent version of socialism, which is Venezuela. I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but apparently squab is no longer on the menu in Venezuela, which means they've run out of pigeons in all the major cities.
Well, they've been eating the burros there. I saw an article a few days, actually, I think it was last week, where they had huge herds of donkeys, and people have been decimating the herds of donkeys, slaughtering them for food.
I was reading that the raccoon population down there is starting to deplete as well.
Really?
Yeah. Because people are trapping them and then eating.
Well, starving is starving. I wouldn't want to eat a scavenger, though. I'm good.
In the Soviet Union, they had to. People used to eat their family members. I mean, there was cannibalism. Starvation got so bad.
Oh yeah, they were cannibalizing on people. But yeah, if I've heard in Venezuela, they've eaten already their pets, all these zoo animals, eaten a bunch of birds and everything.
Yeah, they're starting to have
like I said, there are no more pigeons in Venezuela in the cities. Everything I'm reading says they're all gone. Same with the rats.
All the pigeons are eaten.
And all the rats.
Well, and what's that going to do to their ecology?
Oh no, the rat boys, not the rat boys.
It's gonna destroy it, Atima. And what's really funny is that Marx, in his manifesto, said that part of the reason for creating communism was to improve the condition of the soil and the natural ecology of the nation. Seriously,
what?
word is bond. That's part of his reasoning.
I forgot about that. It's been a long time since I've read it.
And he stated it specifically because he was trying to force people out of factory worker jobs and back into farming as part of the manifesto.
Dude.
And
look
pushed
at
them back into subsistence farming.
Yeah, that's what Pol Pot was all about.
Pol Pot did it. Mao did it. Lenin did it. The Un families in North Korea have done it. It's part of the standard communism, even in Cuba. In Cuba, when they were selling sugarcane to Russia, Castro made everybody sugarcane harvesters. People would literally leave the city during harvesting season and cut sugarcane from one side of the island to the other for shipment. And if you didn't participate, you were executed.
So
executions.
Mandatory executions.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much the only way they can even make communism somewhat stable is forcing people to work. Because if you don't, you will starve.
Right. And killing people that can't contribute.
Starving if you do work.
Well, I was going to say, they're talking about agriculture being the outcome of Marxism, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at North Korea.
Yeah. Well, see, that's part of the problem is you're trying to take factory workers and turn them into farmers. That doesn't work. Human beings have a certain amount of flexibility, and when you start talking some of the lower IQ levels that buy into the communist concept, they're nowhere near as adaptable as higher IQ individuals. That also makes them less productive.
If you take them out of their wheelhouse, yes.
And so start taking them out of a factory where they're creating a widget, and then you tell them, here's a plow. They're going to look at you confused because they don't know how to use a plow. And so it destroys the economy.
But at least we no longer have that dirty capitalism.
Well, see, and that's what's funny is right now in Venezuela, people are trading shit.
Exactly. It just creates black markets. That's all.
Hey guys, you can give me millions of Venezuelan dollars. I got a character in World of Warcraft that has like a 10,000 gold pieces. You know, you guys can have that. That's gotta be worth like $1 billion Venezuelan dollars, right?
Bolivars, yes. And you know what? I've got some rare Pepes if you want. I've got some great Pepe memes. I'll sell them to you on the cheap. 500,000 Bolivars each.
Dude.
That's like, let's get into the blockchain, right?
Pretty much.
I remember talking with a few friends, and we're just like about Venezuela, and we're just like, you know, Venezuela is a good money making opportunity. He says, why is that? You buy a good cargo ship, you buy a bunch of food and shit, you go over there and you start selling it off, and you get a lot of money because the market there is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Then you provide a service by actually giving people food.
Here's the problem, Kaz. If you step foot on the port in Venezuela, you will have 20 socialist militiamen confiscate your ship.
Yep.
At gunpoint.
Thanks for the ship.
Yeah. Thanks for the ship. Thanks for the food. This now belongs to the socialist militia and the army.
Always good to have an armed convoy, though.
Yeah, it's interesting in Venezuela because people are even just sneaking in powdered milk and getting arrested for that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
People are trying to sell their children for food. I mean, it's horrible.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's just absolutely insanely destructive.
Well, that communism works.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, but no, that's not real true communism. We haven't tried that yet.
Oh, yes, of course. And then, of course, you've got the... I don't know if you guys have run into them. I know on mines I get assaulted by them all the time. The people who say they're going to go to resource-based economies. The Venus Project crazies. And,
what is that now?
The resource-based economies is what they call them. Which is
What
basically where I go into this commune and we all produce a bunch of stuff. And if I need cabbage and you're growing cabbage, but I'm growing, potatoes, well, all the cabbage and all the potatoes go into a central storehouse. So when I need a head of cabbage, I just go to the central storehouse and get me a head of cabbage. And that's resource-based economies. Well, realistically, what it is, it's communism without the rap. It's communism without the philosophy.
Yeah, you have the whole ridership problem, right? It's like, why should I go and put a bunch of labor in to grow this stuff when you guys are going to do it and I can just go and take it?
Yeah. Once again, it comes back to basically communism without the philosophy. And they don't seem to get that. And I've had to sit down with them multiple times and try to explain this to them. And they're like, no, it doesn't work that way. And I'm like, yeah, it really does. Not to mention, how do you keep accounting for somebody's labor if you don't have currency? All currency was an indication of labor value.
Just like the communism doesn't work, kiddo, and the kid just autistically screeches and goes.
Well, it sounds like bartering to me. That sounds like complicated extra rule bartering that we did in ancient times before we had money.
Yeah. Once again, currency, all it is an indicator of worth. This dollar is a dollar because you and I both agree it's a dollar, Tim.
Exactly.
And if I give you the dollar for something, then whatever I'm giving you the dollar for has to be worth $1 for me.
It has to be worth less than $1. That's how transactions occur. If I pay you, if I sell you something for $1, that means that you believe that the thing that your dollar is worth more than what I'm giving you, and I believe your dollar is worth more than what I'm giving you. That's what makes it a rational transaction.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I was talking to this one anarcho-socialist, and he was the kind of person that legit believes that communism is the state of going back to tribal society, which I thought was really funny because I told him, isn't communism the same philosophy that doesn't encourage things like money and bartering? And he's just like, yeah, communism is all about this or that. Well, that's funny because when I've actually researched native tribes, all what they do is bartering. You know, it's like, hey, do you want this? You want this flask skin of water? How about you give me like this bear coat that you just skinned a bear out of? Something that is to both parties of equal value, if not more.
So, do you know where the theory of El Dorado's gold came from?
What?
It came from this native tribe in South America. What they had is they had natural salt springs, and they would dry out the salt water into salt cakes, and they would trade with other groups this salt for preserving meat and preserving vegetables, because salt is a major component in food preservation without refrigeration.
Yeah, exactly.
So this natural, fresh salt source was what they used to barter with. And so they would gather this large amount of gold that these other tribes would give them in exchange. And they would literally sink this stuff in the lake that was nearby as part of religious ceremonies. Why? Because the gold had no value to them, but it had value to these other tribes. And the salt didn't have any value to the tribe receiving the gold because they had as much of it as they wanted. They had the spread.
Yeah.
And so that's why they traded that. But I've actually had that argument many a times, Kaz, with people. They tell me that primitive cultures were all about communism. It's like, no, the best hunter is still the best hunter. And the best hunter shares because he chooses to, not because he's required to. And usually that's because when the best hunter fails, the second best or the third best succeeds.
Yeah, like a tribal society is the definition of you work to eat, and if you don't work to eat, you starve, and no one gives a fuck.
Yeah. And so if you're not out there hunting with all the other hunters, then you don't eat. If you're one of the gatherers and you're not out gathering with the rest of the tribe, you don't eat.
Yep.
Why? Because everybody gathers together.
Well, that's the only way you're going to have any kind of communal living work is within the family when there's people. Altruism is justified.
Yeah.
Everybody depends on everybody else. It's outside of that, the nuclear home is kind of the basis for Western civilization. And when you start working outside of that and you expect that altruism and that want to sacrifice for your family, when you expect that to go outside of what you're already genetically related to or what's yours in your circle, it doesn't work. You start having animosity and jealousy and all those other human emotions come into play.
You're completely accurate there.
Yeah.
Well, it is getting to be 9 o'clock, guys, so I think we might want to just go ahead and chill out and call it a night. So, ladies first, Timo?
We're shilling?
Yeah.
Okay, kids.
Wow.
Well, we're shilling. We're shilling like villains, aren't we, Irate?
Yep.
Okay, so this has been a busy few days for me. I'm supposed to do a show with Irate on Thursday with your boy Pat and my baby Big Fat Brian. We're looking at Godzilla 2, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and Viper Sword will probably be there too.
Oh, sweet. So another one of the people I really, really respect and look up to. We're going to be doing that on your channel starting Mondays. On Suasea's channel, I'm going to be doing a show called The Lazy Misfits with Cyberpunk, otherwise known as Degeneration Nation. And it's just going to be current events. We have a different group of people, 7 p.m. EST, brand new idea. We're just starting. Hit me up if you want Discord link and all that kind of stuff. I'll tell you all about it. Wednesday, I'm not sure. I haven't gotten full confirmation on when or what we're doing, but there's supposed to be a show on the Cunt Stream called Taboo Talking Points with me, Schmeckle, and Unapologetic Leaf. No idea what we're supposed to be covering. I have no clue. I haven't been told yet. Friday, Irate and I have the Cream Stream.
Yep.
And other than that, I have no freaking clue. Hopefully, I'll get a day off somewhere to make a video.
Well, you're always welcome to join me anytime I'm streaming at Timo, right?
Absolutely. I will do my best to be here.
All right. Kaz, why don't we just keep going down the line?
Okay, so you want me to talk now?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. I'm Kaz Warfox. You've probably already heard of me for explicit reasons. I do gaming, politics, and stuff. If you My Twitter's full of memes and shit, and where I act like an asshole to a lot of idiots on politics, and of course, you know, I always love condemning them pedos because they're a funny bunch, completely retarded but funny, and as well as communists, they're retards too. If you also on my YouTube, that's where I do politics and video games whenever I have the time for it. I do gaming streams when I just feel like I want to just play video games, talk to people, and talk shit about recent events. If you're into that, then I would recommend that you follow and subscribe, provided you can handle the weird furry fact shit I get into.
And of course, some of Kaz's memes are so dank that they've been banned in 7 states. So be careful on his Twitter feed.
They've been banned in the South.
My memes
Yes,
are
they
too
have.
powerful.
They are way too powerful. I guess Reason is muted at the moment, so why don't you go ahead and shill out their prostate?
Cyrate Prostate here. And let's see, the next thing I got coming up is going to be the Thursday Hot Takes Anime Week with Big Fat Brian, like Tema mentioned earlier. It's on in the afternoons. It'll be 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, and 3 o'clock Pacific. And in addition, like Atema said, it'll be me, Big Fat Brian, Atema, and your boy Pat, and Viper Sword. Friday night, we're going to be doing the Cream Stream 49. God, almost at 50. Race Jacobson will be joining us, and I might invite a guy I met tonight named GHHG. Very interesting dudes into music and shit. Saturday, got Drinks with Friends with Saradamantine. That's iffy as to whether that's going to go down or not. I'm betting that it's going to go down. Let's see, Sunday, my ice cream interview. I do not have my interviewee lined up yet, so I gotta lock that down tomorrow. And then, of course, Irate Mondays will crank back up next week at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock Pacific. And we do stuff kind of like what we did tonight. But I think I'm gonna kind of go in a little different direction and get weird. Look at weird shit.
Get weird with a beard on me?
Like why? Yeah, like Alex Jones. You know,
all right, man.
Like Alex Jones's beard, man. Isn't that beard awesome?
Turn the freaking frog.
Yeah. Can't wait.
I love it all, baby, because the beard's where it's at. Got a beard, you have it.
Can't wait to hear what Alex Jones has for Monday, man. I can't wait. So, Riesenberger, you got anything you want to shill out? Anything you want to tell us about what you're doing?
Yeah, I want to thank you, the Veteran Mountain Man, for having me on. You can find me on Twitter under Riesenberger, and I really enjoyed being on, and maybe we can get together again sometime.
Yeah, I definitely am looking forward to it. And thank you for joining me, and thank you for sending me this BuzzFeed article. It was great stuff, and I love talking about crazy communist rhetoric from BuzzFeed. It's a favorite topic of mine.
There's a never-ending supply.
There is. Really is.
The gift it's almost like herpes, the gift that keeps on giving.
It really does.
Slate, Vox, BuzzFeed.
Rational, you're next.
All right, my name is Rational Outlaw. I do news, political, and social commentary videos. You can follow me on my YouTube channel by my name, Rational Outlaw. You can also find me on Minds.com, BitChute, Gab, Twitter, Facebook, a bunch of different social media. You can also support my work on Patreon, Maker Support, and Ko-fi. You can also get something from my merch store on TeePublic. And yeah, that's it.
And of course, Rational, you're always welcome to join me.
Thank you.
You and I haven't streamed in a bit, but I do enjoy streaming.
Glad to be here.
And of course, I'm the Veteran Mountain Man, and if you don't know how to get me on YouTube, well, I don't know how you got here, but you got lucky, so go ahead and subscribe. This is the Front Porch Discussions, which will be my new Tuesday show. I'm actually thinking about possibly even doing a Tuesday and Thursday show once I get to Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
But I'm going to see how me and Irate can work that out together, because I don't want to step on his toes. Also, don't forget you can catch me on BitChute, Minds, Gab, Twitter, I'm on Maker Support Patreon. I do have a Teespring and a Redbubble where I'm doing T-shirts, mostly political, but there's going to be some comedy based. And well, have yourself a nice night and watch out for the comments.